Hey guys, tonight we begin with the surprisingly busy and occasionally lyrical life of Paleolithic humans. What did cavemen actually do all day? Turns out it wasn't just rock smashing and fire discovery, montages. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what Ito here, and let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you. It's always fascinating to see who's joining us from around the world. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Whispers of the wild, a day in the Stone Age. The night trembled with a secret, a stillness so deep it seemed the earth itself was listening. Near the shadowed mouth of the Chauvet cave, in a land that would one day be called France, a fire sputtered, its frail light clawing at the darkness. 30,000 years ago, time held no meaning, only the pulse of survival, the rhythm of breath, and the weight of the unknown. Torin sat hunched by the flames, his calloused fingers tracing the grooves of a bone flute, its surface etched with the ghosts of his effort. His family, Sela, his wife, and their children, Rin and Leela, watched him, their faces flickering in the glow, eyes wide with something unspoken. Tonight was different. Tonight they would summon the spirits of the wild, not with blood or force, but with sound, a fragile, trembling song to bridge the gap between the living and the unseen. As Torin raised the flute to his lips, the first note quivered into the air, sharp and mournful, cutting through the silence like a blade. It was a call, a plea, a demand from the blackness beyond the fire. Something answered, a growl, low. An ancient rolled forth, freezing the blood in their veins. The darkness shifted, and a cave bear loomed into view, its massive form a silhouette of primal power, its eyes burning with a knowing that pierced Torin's soul. The family held their breath, caught between terror and awe, as the beast stood, motionless, judging them. Then, with a slow dip of its head, it turned and melted back into the night, leaving behind a silence that thrummed with meaning. Torin's hands shook as he lowered the flute, his heart a drumbeat of wonder and fear. Had they been blessed or warned? The answer hung in the air, heavy and alive, a mystery that would haunt them until the stars faded. If this glimpse into the wild has stirred your soul, join us for the journey ahead. Hit that subscribe button. Your support keeps these stories alive, fueling more adventures through time. Now, let's step deeper into this ancient world. The dawn arrived like a whisper, soft and golden, threading its way through the towering trees that cradled our camp. I am Torin, and this is my life, a fragile thread woven into the vast tapestry of the Stone Age. The Chauvet cave looms nearby, its jagged maw a gateway to secrets we can only guess at, its walls alive with the echoes of those who walked before us. As the first light kissed the earth, I rose from the firs that cocooned me, their warmth a fleeting shield against the morning's bite. Sela stirred beside me, her presence a steady flame in the chaos of our days. Her dark hair spilled across the hides, a cascade of night against the dawn. And I paused to watch her breathe, grateful for the strength she carried in her quiet way. Our children, Rin and Leela, were already awakening at 15, a boy on the cusp of manhood, his shoulders broad with promise. Lila, 9 winters old, a spark of wild joy with eyes that drank in the world. Their voices mingled with the rustle of leaves, a melody of life that grounded me. The fire, our constant companion, glowed faintly at the heart of our camp. I knelt beside it, coaxing it back to life with twigs and breath, watching the flames leap as if eager to greet the day. It was more than warmth, it was our anchor, our defiance against the cold and the dark that forever lurked beyond. Sella joined me, her hands brushing mine as she added a branch, her smile a quiet gift. "Another day," she said, her voice soft but steady, and I nodded, feeling the weight of those words. Each day was a victory, a fragile truce with a world that offered no promises. Rin and Lila bounded over, their energy a stark contrast to the stillness of the morning. Lila's laughter rang out as she tugged at my arm. "Papa, can I hunt with you today?" Her eyes shone with a fierce hope that made my chest ache. I ruffled her tangled hair, the color of earth after rain. "Not yet, little one. Today you'll seek treasures with Mama." Her pout was fleeting, replaced by a grin. At the thought of foraging with Sella, we broke our fast with what we had: dried berries, tart and sweet, and strips of meat from a kill to days past. It was simple, but it fueled us, a reminder of the balance between taking and giving that defined our existence. After eating, we turned to our tools, the extensions of our will in this unforgiving land. My spear rested in my hands, its flint, tip sharp and true, a companion forged through patience and skill. Sella's scrapers, crafted from antler and stone, were her art, transforming hides into shelter and warmth. Rin sat beside me, his own knife taking shape under my guidance. I pointed to the flint in his grip. "Strike here, feel the stone before it yields." His brow furrowed, and with a quick, sure motion, the flint split, a perfect edge gleaming in the light. I clapped his shoulder, pride swelling within me. He was learning, growing, becoming. Across the camp, Sella knelt with Lila, showing her how to twist reeds into a basket. Lila's first attempt wobbled, lopsided and clumsy, but she held it aloft with a triumphant smile. "Look, Papa," I laughed, the sound carrying through the trees. "A masterpiece," I said, and her joy lit up the morning brighter than the sun. When the sun climbed higher, it was time to hunt. I joined 7 others, including Kale, my brother-in-law, whose steady presence I trusted like my own shadow. Deer tracks had been spotted near the river, their delicate imprints a promise of sustenance. We moved through the forest, silent as the wind, our steps a dance honed by generations. The chase was in my blood, a rhythm that pulsed with every heartbeat. We spread out, signaling with sharp calls and gestures, a language older than words. The wind shifted, carrying the faint musk of deer, and I nodded to Kale. He mirrored me, and we closed in. There, by the water's edge, a young buck paused, its antlers just budding, unaware of the eyes upon it. I balanced my spear, breathed, and let it fly. The air sang as it arced, then struck true, felling the buck with a soft thud. A murmur of triumph passed between us, and we hauled it back. The weight of our success, a shared burden. Sella met us at the camp's edge, her arms laden with roots and nuts, her face alight with quiet pride. Lila trailed behind, her hands sticky with honey. She had braved a beehive with the women, her small frame buzzing with courage. I scooped her up, laughing as she smeared honey on my cheek. "Braver than me," I said, and her giggle was a song. For a moment, the world felt gentle, the harsh edges softened by her light dot. As dusk fell, painting the sky in hues of fire, we gathered for our ritual. Before every hunt, we honored the spirits of the animals we took not out of fear, but reverence. I led the chant, my voice a low hum that rose with the others, rolling over the hills like a storm. We dipped our fingers in ochre, tracing lines on our faces, marks of strength, of gratitude. It was our pact with the wild. We took only what we needed, and we gave back our thanks. The deer roasted over the fire, its fat dripping into the flames, filling the air with a rich, earthy scent. We ate with our hands, the meat warm and tender, sharing stories that bound us tighter than any rope. Rin boasted of his part in the hunt, and I let him shine. Lila, not to be outdone, wove a tale of outsmarting the bees, her hands fluttering like wings. Laughter spilled forth, a rare and precious sound in our hard-fought days. Night wrapped us in its embrace, and we huddled closer, 25 souls, a family forged by fire and fate. The elders spun tales of aurochs hunts, their voices conjuring giants in the flames. I added my own story of the buck, embellishing just enough to draw a groan from Rin. Then I reached for a secret. I had kept a bone flute, carved in stolen moments. Its notes were rough, trembling through the air, but the children clapped, and Sella's gaze softened. It was a new sound, a thread of beauty in our rugged lives. We looked to the stars, tracing shapes we had named, the hunter, the weaver, the little dreamer. Lila pressed against me, her voice small. Will we always be together, Papa? I held her close, the fire's warmth on our faces. Always, I said, though I felt the wild's pulse, its unpredictability. For now, it was enough. Before sleep, we walked to the cave. Its walls breathed with our art handprints in red and black, bison leaping, hunters poised. I lit a torch, shadows dancing, and Lila pressed her hand to the stone, her mark joining mine. It was more than paint. It was us, etched into eternity. We were not just surviving. We were dreaming, creating, loving. This was our day, our whisper in the wild, and it was more beautiful than I could have known. Flames of genius, the atomic breakthrough. I stood on the edge of something vast and unknowable, my breath catching in the dry desert air of Los Alamos, New Mexico. The night was still, the stars above, piercing the blackness with a cold, indifferent light, as if they bore witness to our deeds, but refused to judge. My hands trembled not from the chill that crept through the thin fabric of my coat, but from the weight of the secret we carried, a secret so immense it threatened to consume us all. I was Dr. Lena Voss, a physicist among giants, tasked with unraveling the mysteries of the atom, bending its power to our will. It was 1945, and the world was ablaze with war, a conflagration that had already devoured millions and showed no signs of relenting. Here, in this hidden town, carved from the wilderness, we were forging a weapon to end it, a weapon born of genius, ambition, and a quiet, gnawing fear. Each day began with the same relentless rhythm. I rose before dawn, the hum of activity already threading through the makeshift streets of Los Alamos. Scientists scribbled equations on chalkboards, their hands stained with the dust of discovery, while engineers tinkered with machines that whirred and groaned under the strain of our demands. Soldiers patrolled the perimeter, their faces etched with a mix of pride and exhaustion, reminders of the war we were fighting to end. We were a strange congregation, brilliant minds and hardened hearts, united by a singular purpose, yet fractured by the doubts that whispered in the quiet moments. My closest confidant, Dr. Sarah Klein, was a constant presence, her sharp intellect matched only by her unwavering conscience. Over coffee that tasted more of ash than comfort, she would fix me with those piercing blue eyes and ask, "Lena, are we sure this is right? What happens if we succeed in? It's worse than failing." Her words lingered like a shadow, trailing me through the labs and into the sleepless nights. Los Alamos was a world unto itself, a crucible where time seemed to bend under the pressure of our task. We lived in barracks that smelled of pine and dust, our lives reduced to the essentials: work, sleep, and the rare stolen moments of laughter over a shared cigarette or a game of cards. General Owen Drake, the military overseer of the project, was our anchor and our storm. His broad shoulders carried the weight of command, his voice a gravelly thunder that cut through the chaos. "We're saving lives, boss," he'd say, his gaze steady and unyielding. "Every day we delay, more boys die in the Pacific, more cities burn in Europe." I wanted to believe him, to let his certainty wash away my unease, but the equations on my desk told a different story, one of power so vast it defied comprehension, a power that could reshape the world or reduce it to ashes. The days blurred into weeks, then months, each one a step closer to the moment we both dreaded and craved. The Trinity test loomed on the horizon, a reckoning for all we had built. I remember the night before, wandering the empty streets, the desert wind tugging at my hair. Owen found me near the edge of the compound, his silhouette stark against the moonlit mesas. "You should rest, Lena," he said, his tone softer than usual, almost tender. "Tomorrow's the day we've been working for." I nodded, but my mind was a storm of numbers and nightmares. "Do you ever think we're wrong?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. He paused, his breath clouding in the cool air. "Every damn day," he admitted, his eyes distant. "But I think about what's at stake: Hitler's scientists, Japan's resolve. We don't have the luxury of doubt." His words were a lifeline, pulling me back from the abyss. Yet they did little to quiet the tremor in my soul. When dawn broke on July 16, 1945, the air crackled with anticipation. We gathered at the test site, a ragged assembly of dreamers and warriors, our eyes fixed on the squat, menacing shape in the distance. They called it Gadget, a name so mundane it belied the cataclysm it promised. My pulse thrummed in my ears as the countdown began, each tick a hammer against my resolve. At 5:29 a.m., the world erupted. A flash of light tore through the darkness, so bright it burned through my closed eyelids, so fierce it stole the breath from my lungs. Then came the sound a roar that rolled across the desert like the wrath of a forgotten god, shaking the ground beneath us. I opened my eyes to see it, a towering column of fire and smoke curling into the sky, a mushroom cloud that was both beautiful and grotesque. For a moment, I was lost in awe, the sheer magnitude of our creation overwhelming every thought. Then came the fear, sharp and cold, a realization that we had unleashed something we might never control. Sarah stood beside me, her hand gripping mine, her voice trembling as she whispered, What have we done? The test was a triumph, a validation of years of toil, yet it marked the beginning of a descent I hadn't anticipated. Days later, the news arrived like a blow. Hiroshima had been struck. A single bomb had leveled a city, snuffing out tens of thousands of lives in an instant. Then Nagasaki followed, a second scar etched into the earth. The war ended, the surrender papers signed, but the victory tasted of bile. I retreated to my room, the walls closing in as I wept for the first time since we began. Sarah found me, there curled on the floor, her own face streaked with tears. "We did this," she said, her voice breaking. "We turned science into slaughter." I couldn't argue, couldn't find the words to defend what we'd wrought. The images haunted me-charred streets, melted shadows where people once stood, the cries of survivors carried on the wind. Owen came later, his jaw set, his eyes shadowed. It was necessary, he insisted, though his tone lacked its usual steel. We stopped a greater evil, saved millions. I wanted to believe him, to cling to that justification, but the hollow ache in my chest refused to relent. In the aftermath, I sought answers in the fragments of our work. I read letters from Japan, smuggled through channels I didn't question, each one a dagger to my conscience. A woman wrote of her son, his laughter silenced by the blast, his small body lost beneath the rubble. "Why?" she asked, her handwriting trembling across the page. I had no reply, only a guilt that grew heavier with every word. Sarah and I spent nights arguing, our voices rising in the stillness. "We were supposed to heal, to build," she cried, slamming her fist against the table. "Not this, not death on this scale." I tried to counter, to argue that the war's end justified the means, but my conviction faltered. The camaraderie that had sustained us frayed, replaced by a silence thick with unspoken regrets. Yet life moved forward, as it always does. The world hailed us as heroes, the architects of peace, but the title felt like a lie. I walked the mesas alone, the desert stretching out before me, vast and unyielding. I thought of the power we'd harnessed, the potential it held beyond destruction energy, to light cities, to cure diseases, to lift humanity from the ashes. But the shadow of the bomb loomed larger, a reminder of the precipice we'd crossed. I thought of Sarah's questions, Owen's resolve, my own trembling hands as I'd scribbled the equations that made it possible. We had changed the world, but at what cost? The answer eluded me, slipping through my fingers like sand. As I stand here now, years later, the echoes of that time still resonate. I am Dr. Lena Voss, a name tied to a moment when genius flared into flame, when the atom split and the future shifted. Los Alamos is quieter now, the urgency faded, but the wind carries whispers of what we did, dove triumph and tragedy intertwined. I see both in equal measure, the end of a war, the birth of an age, the lives lost and the lives spared. I cling to a fragile hope, a belief that our work might yet serve a greater good, that the power we unleashed can be tamed, wielded with care. The atomic age began with us, with our hands and hearts and haunted dreams, and with it comes a burden. We cannot escape to ensure that this flame, this genius, lights the way forward, not the path to ruin. Woven legends, fashioned through history, I stand at the edge of time, a silent witness to the threads that bind Ustreds, not of mere flax or silk, but of memory, of longing, of the unspoken truths we wear upon our skin. Fashion is no fleeting fancy, it is the pulse of humanity, a tapestry woven from the joys and sorrows of countless lives, stretching across the ages. I have walked the dust-choked paths of yore, where a trader's robe, stained with the sweat of commerce, shimmered with the pride of a new world. I have lingered in the cool shadows of Thebes, where a priest's linen, crisp and unyielding, carried the weight of eternity. I have traced the wind-swept cliffs of Mycenae, where a warrior's cloak flapped like a banner of defiance, and in the marble halls of Constantinople, I have seen an empress's silks ripple like water, each fold a testament to her dominion over empires and hearts. These are not just garments. They are legend stories spun from the loom of existence, tales of who we were, who we are, who we dream to be. Join me, then, as I unravel this vast weave, not with the cold precision of a scholar, but with the trembling hands of one who feels the echoes of every stitch. For fashion is not what cloaks us, it is what reveals us, a mirror to our souls, a bridge across the chasms of time. In the dim dawn of our kind, clothing was born of need. I see them now, huddled in caves, their breath fogging in the chill, their hands fumbling with hides and sinew. A mother wraps her child in furs, her fingers raw from scraping, her heart fierce with the will to shield him from the frost. But even in that primal act, something deeper stirs. She pierces a shell with a bone, all threads it onto a cord, and ties it around her neck, not for warmth, but for wonder. It catches the firelight, and in its gleam she sees herself anew. This is the first thread, the spark of adornment, the moment when survival becomes something more, a cry into the void, a claim to existence. From that fragile beginning, fashion unfurls like a river finding its course. In the cradle of Sumer, where mud-brick cities rise from the plains, clothing becomes a map of meaning. A farmer trudges home in a coarse tunic, its hem frayed by the fields, his life etched into its weave. Beside him strides a merchant, his robes dyed with the indigo of distant shores, his wealth a silent boast in every thread. I watch as he barters in the marketplace, his voice sharp, but his garment sharper still, a declaration of status, a shield against obscurity. Yet in the homes, away from the clamor, women spin their own tales. A wife embroiders a border onto her husband's cloak, her needle dipping like a dancer, each not a wish for his return. A girl weaves a sash for her betrothed, her cheeks flushed with dreams, the cloth a fragile vow. These are not ornaments, they are anchors, binding the wearer to the worn, the lover to the loved. As the wheel of history turns, fashion shifts with it, a tide that carries the spirit of each age. In Egypt, beneath a sun that scorches and sanctifies, linen reigns. I stand amid the quarries, watching laborers bend beneath their burdens, their kilts practical and plain, a second skin against the heat. But in the temples, the air hums with reverence, and the priests glide in robes so sheer they seem spun from light itself, their purity a bridge to the gods. The pharaohs, adorned in gold and pleats, are more than men, they are the horizon made flesh, their clothing a crown as heavy as any diadem. I see a queen, perhaps Nefertari, her dress clinging like a lover's touch, her neck laden with turquoise and lapis, not for vanity, but for power, each bead a talisman against the chaos beyond the palace walls. She walks, and the world bends to her grace, her garb, a hymn to the eternal dance of life. Across the waves, in Greece, fashion finds a quieter voice. I roam the streets of Athens, where men in chitons argue beneath the olive trees, their garments as spare as their words, a testament to reason's reign. A poet, perhaps Pindar, wraps his himation close, its simplicity a canvas for his thoughts, its drape a shield against distraction. Yet even here, meaning lingers. A youth's short tunic marks him for the fields. A woman's peplus folds into modesty, its pins a quiet strength. At festivals, though, the air bursts with color: saffron for the wealthy, crimson for the bold, and I see girls twirl in the dust, their sandals slapping stone, their laughter weaving into the cloth. Fashion here is no mere display. It is balance, a reflection of the order they chase in marble and mind. Rome seizes this legacy and forges it anew. In the Forum, I watch senators sweep past, their togas a cascade of wool and will, the purple stripe a law unto itself. To wear it is to wield it, to misfold it is to falter. Slaves shuffle in rags, their bodies branded by their garb, while matrons swathe themselves the cloth, a badge of virtue, a mask for its absence. I see Livia, her stola immaculate, her gaze steady as she moves through the crowd, her clothing a silent command. Yet there are rebels to a woman, perhaps Clodia, her hair wild, her tunic sheer, daring Rome to judge her. Her rings gleam like defiance, her steps a challenge to the chains of cloth and custom. In Rome, fashion is a decree, a battlefield, where identity is won or lost. Farther east, in Persia's golden courts, fashion becomes a pageant of the divine. I wander Persepolis, where kings' dan robes, thick with embroidery lions, roar across their chests. Stars glitter at their hems, each thread a claim to the heavens. Courtiers vie in silks, their intricacy a ladder to favor, their tiaras towering like prayers. Women glide in veils, their beauty a shadow play, their anklets chiming with every step. I see Roxana, her eyes sharp beneath her veil, her gown a weapon in the Game of Thrones. Here, to dress is to worship, to align with the cosmic order, to wear the universe itself. In India, fashion is a sacred song. By the Ganges, I watch women wrap saris around their forms, the cloth a single unbroken line, its colors a lexicon of place and purpose for a bride. White for a widow, gold for a goddess. The bare waist is no shame, it is life, to the body's grace. Men in dhotis kneel at altars, their simplicity a vow, while the silks of Kanchipuram shimmer with tales of Krishna and Radha. I touch a sari, its weave so fine it slips like water through my fingers, and feel the hands that made it, the weaver's patience, the dyer's art, the wearer's pride. Fashion here is not adornment, it is eternity, a thread that ties the mortal to the divine dot. In China, it is order made manifest. I drift through Chang'an, where the Hanfu flows like a river, its sleeves wide as wings, its hues a code yellow for the son of heaven, blue for the scholar, brown for the earthbound. The emperor, perhaps Wu, stands cloaked in dragon scales. Of thread, his presence a mandate from the stars. Women pin their hair with jade, their robes layered like petals, each fold a bow to harmony. Even the shoes whisper rank-curved for the elite, blunt for the lowly. To dress is to obey, to weave oneself into the fabric of the realm, a duty as old as the mountains. Across the northern mists, the Celts defy such rigidity. In Terra's green hills, I see warriors in tartans, their plaids a riot of color, each not a clan's crime. Their trousers, rough and bold, laugh at the robes of softer lands, while women pin their shawls with brooches of twisted silver, their fingers calloused but sure. I see Bridget, her cloak flung wide, her torque gleaming at her throat, her garb a shield against the wind and the world. In battle, they paint themselves blue, their nakedness a taunt, their fashion a howl of freedom. And in Byzantium, where east meets west, fashion ascends to glory. I stand in Hagia Sophia, where Theodora's robes blaze with gold, her crown a constellation, her purple a sacrament. Courtiers shimmer in tunics stitched with crosses, their faith a pattern in the weave. To wear this is to kneel, to offer oneself to God and Emperor in a single breath. Fashion here is no mere craft. It is liturgy, a hymn in silk and stone. Threads stretch across the centuries, binding us in their weave. Fashion is the merchant's swagger and the monk's humility, the queen's splendor and the beggar's rags. It is Aisha stitching a veil for her daughter, her tears falling into the cloth. It is Marcus tearing his tunic in the Colosseum, his blood a final mark. It is the lover's gift, the mourner's shroud, the child's first swaddle it carries. Our stories, our sins, our hopes, linking us to those who came before and those yet to come. In its embrace, I find my own reflection, the ache to be seen, the fear of fading, the dream of enduring. And so, I weave my voice into this endless tale, a thread among the countless, a legend among the woven. Eyes on the future, the journey of eyeglasses I am standing at the threshold of sight, where the world blurs into shadow and clarity is a gift hard won. My name is Marco, a humble glassmaker from Florence, and it is the year 1290. The workshop smells of molten glass and sweat, the air thick with the heat of the furnace. My hands, calloused and scarred, tremble as I hold a small, convex lens to my eye. The world sharpens suddenly, vividly, and, for the first time, I see the delicate veins of a leaf, the intricate weave of my tunic, the laugh lines etched into my wife's face. It is a revelation, a miracle born of fire and sand, and in that moment I know I have touched something divine. This is not just glass. It is a key to the hidden wonders of the world, a bridge between the seen and the unseen. Little do I know that this simple lens will become a thread woven through the tapestry of human history, a legacy of light that will outlast empires and echo through the ages. The years stretch forward, and I am no longer Marco, but Hans, a craftsman. In Munich, my fingers deft as they twist wire into frames. It is 1500, and the city hums with the energy of a world reborn. The guilds are alive with purpose, their members crafting spectacles that are more than tools. They are treasures, emblems of wisdom and wealth. I watch a merchant, his eyes dulled by years of squinting at ledgers, slip on a pair of my glasses. His face transforms wonder, relief, a spark of joy. In that moment, I feel the weight of my craft, the quiet pride of knowing that my hands have restored a piece of the world to him. These spectacles are not mere accessories. They are windows to possibility, a testament to human ingenuity and the relentless pursuit of clarity. The merchant clutches them like a talisman, and I realize that what I have made is not just for seeing it, is for living. Time bends and shifts, and I am Isaac, pacing the halls of Cambridge in 1670, my mind alight with questions. The air is heavy with the scent of parchment and ink, the walls lined with books that murmur secrets of the universe. I am consumed by the study of light, its bending, its breaking, its power to reveal and conceal. My experiments with prisms and lenses are a quest to unravel the fabric of reality. But the hours are long, and my vision blurs from strain. I reach for my spectacles, their lenses ground to perfection, and slide them onto my nose. Snaps into focus, the equations on the page leaping to life. I am reminded that even the greatest minds lean on the humblest tools. These glasses are not just aids. They are companions in discovery, silent partners in the dance of knowledge. Through them, I see not just the numbers, but the cosmos they describe. And I am humbled by the small miracle that rests upon my face. The centuries turn, and I am Benjamin, a statesman in Philadelphia. My days filled with the clamor of a nation's birth. It is 1780, and my eyes, once sharp, now falter. The letters on the page swim before me, a maddening blur. I refuse to be hindered. I am a man of solutions. With a spark of inspiration, I take two lenses for distance, one for reading, and fuse them into a single frame. Bifocals, I call them, a triumph of practicality. Now I can shift from my papers to the faces of my colleagues without pause. My vision seamless, my mind free. These are not just glasses. They are a testament to the human spirit's refusal to be bound. A bridge between the near and the far, the known and the unknown. As I wear them, I feel the weight of a future I am helping to build, and I know that this simple invention will ripple through time, touching lives I will never meet. In the glittering salons of Paris, I am Emily, my laughter weaving through the clink of crystal and the murmur of voices. It is 1850, and fashion speaks a language all its own. I wear my spectacles, not out of need, but as a statement, their delicate frames a nod to intellect and grace. They perch on my nose like a crown, a quiet rebellion against the limits of beauty. I am a scholar, a poet, a thinker, and these glasses are my emblem. They catch the light, drawing glances and whispers, but I wear them with pride. To see clearly is to think clearly, and to think clearly is to live freely. Adornments, they are declarations, a claim to a world that honors the mind as much as the mirror. In the soft glow of the chandelier, I catch my reflection and smile, knowing that I am part of a legacy that began centuries ago, a legacy of light and defiance. The world turns again, and I am Clara, a librarian in the quiet of a 1920s library. My love for stories, a fire that never fades. My glasses, round and sturdy, are my constant companions, their lenses a gateway to the worlds I can only dream of. I spend my days lost in books, my fingers tracing the words of distant lands and daring heroes. But it is not just the stories that hold me, it is the people who seek them. A child, wide-eyed and eager, asks for a tale of dragons. An elder, his hands trembling, searches for a memory in a faded poem. Each time I help them, my glasses sharpen the text, but also my sense of purpose. These are not just tools, they are bridges between hearts, a way to share the light of knowledge with those who reach for it. In the stillness, I feel the weight of every pair of glasses that came before mine, each one a step toward this moment of connection. The years grow heavy with shadow, and I am Thomas, a soldier in a muddy trench, my glasses fogged with the breath of fear. It is the 1940s, and war rages around me, a chaos of sound and smoke. My thoughts drift to home, to the letters I write by lantern light, my pen scratching across the page. Words of my beloved. See her face in the photograph tucked into my pocket. They are a fragile thread tying me to sanity, to hope, to the promise of a future beyond this battlefield. In the midst of ruin, they remind me of what I fight for, a world where sight is not just survival, but a celebration of life's small wonders. As the bombs fall, I clutch them close, a piece of clarity in a world gone dark, in the neon pulse of 1980s New York. I am David, a designer with a vision for the future. The city thrums with energy, and I am part of a revolution, not in politics, but in style. I craft frames that defy convention, angular, colorful, daring. They perch on the noses of artists and rebels, thinkers and dreamers, each pair a mark of individuality. A young musician slips on a pair, his eyes lighting up behind the tinted lenses. Given him more than vision, I have given him a piece of his soul made visible. These are not just glasses, they are identities, a canvas for the self. In the city's glow, I see a world remade, one frame at a time. In the hum of a 21st century lab, I am Dr. Aisha Khan, a scientist on the edge of discovery. My glasses, sleek and smart, are more than aids. They are extensions of my mind, projecting holograms of molecules, translating languages in real time, guiding me through the maze of the unknown. I am part of a new frontier where sight is not just seeing but understanding, connecting, transcending. These are not just tools, they are portals to a future where human potential is redrawn with every glance. As I work, I feel the echoes of Marco, Hans, Isaac Hall, those who came before me, and I know that I am carrying their light into tomorrow. Now, I see the threads of this story woven through time, tapestry of light and shadow, struggle and triumph. From Marco's humble lens to Aisha's smart glasses, the journey of eyeglasses is not just a tale of invention, but of humanity itself. It is the story of how we have sought to see more clearly, not just the world around us, but the truths within us. Each pair of glasses is a testament to our resilience, our creativity, our relentless pursuit of a better tomorrow. They are not just objects, they are legacies, whispers of the countless lives they have touched, the dreams they have sharpened, the futures they have illuminated. In the end, human desire to overcome, to understand, to connect. As I look back across the centuries, I see not just the evolution of a tool, but the evolution of sight, from survival to celebration, from necessity to art. And as I gaze into the future, I know this story is far from over. New horizons beckon, new visions to be unlocked, new threads to be woven into the fabric of our shared history. For as long as we dare to look, to question, to dream, the journey of eyeglasses will endure, a beacon guiding us toward the light. Conclusion. Threads of Time, a journey through human ingenuity and connection is. The final embers of our journey flicker and fade. I stand at the crossroads of history, gazing back at the path we've traveled together, from the shadowed caves of the Paleolithic era to the gleaming labs of the future. We've witnessed the arc of humanity, a story not just of survival, but of creation, of struggle, of dreams etched into the fabric of time. This is not merely a tale of tools and inventions, of hunts and breakthroughs. To connect more deeply, in the first whispers of the wild, we met Torin and his family, huddled near the Chauvet cave. There lives a delicate dance with nature's unforgiving rhythm. Their days were filled with the primal tasks of survival, tending fires, crafting tools, hunting for sustenance, but woven into these acts were the seeds of something greater. In the flicker of the firelight, they told stories, not just to pass the time, but to pass on wisdom, to bind their community with shared memory. In the quiet moments, Torin carved a flute from bone, and Lila pressed her hand to the cave wall, leaving a mark that would echo through millennia. Here, in the dawn of humanity, we see the birth of art, of music, of the need to create something that outlasts the fleeting breath of life. It is a reminder that even in the harshest of times, we are not just survivors, we are dreamers, makers, storytellers. Then we leaped forward to the atomic age, where Dr. Lena Voss stood at the precipice of creation and destruction. In the hidden town of Los Alamos, she and her colleagues wrestled with the atom's secrets, their minds alight with the fire of discovery, their hearts heavy with the weight of what they might unleash. The Trinity test was a moment of awe and terror, a flash that illuminated both the genius and the peril of human ambition. The bombs fell on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and the world was forever changed. War ended, but at a cost that still haunts our collective conscience. Lena's story is not one of easy answers. It is a mirror held up to our own era, where the line between progress and peril grows ever thinner. It asks us to consider the responsibility that comes with knowledge, the moral weight of our creations, and the courage it takes to question the path we tread. From there, we wandered through the woven legends of fashion, where clothing became more than mere covering. It became identity, power, love, and rebellion. In Babylon, a merchant's robe spoke of wealth and status. In Egypt, a queen's linen was a bridge to the divine. In Rome, a senator's toga was a badge of law and lineage. Each stitch, each fold, each color carried meaning, binding the wearer to their culture, their gods, their place in the world. Fashion was not vanity. It was a language, a way to navigate the complexities of human society. It was Aisha's tirso, veil, Marcus's blood-stained tunic, Brigid's defiant plaited tapestry of lives lived boldly, quietly, fiercely. In this, we see that what we wear is not just about the world seeing us. It is about us seeing ourselves, about claiming our place in the story. Finally, we traced the journey of eyeglasses, from Marco's humble lens in Florence to Dr. Aisha Khan's smart glasses in a 21st century lab. This was not just a tale of better vision. It was a testament to humanity's relentless quest to understand, to connect, to transcend. Each pair of glasses was a step forward. Eyes, spectacles, sharpening his equations, Clara's frames, bridging hearts in a library. Thomas's lenses tethering him to hope in the trenches. In the neon glow of 1980s New York, David's bold designs turned glasses into statements of identity, while in the future, Aisha's technology blurred the line between sight and insight. This journey showed us that the tools we create are not just for seeing the world, they are for seeing ourselves, for framing our dreams, for focusing our purpose. As I look back across these eras, I see not for separate stories, but one single thread woven through the fabric of time, binding us to our ancestors and to those yet to come. It is the thread of human ingenuity, of the drive to create, to understand, to connect. In the Paleolithic era, it was the spark of art in a cave. In the Atomic Age, it was the fire of discovery tempered by conscience. In fashion, it was the weaving of identity and meaning. In eyeglasses, it was the sharpening of sight and soul. Each era, each invention, each choice was a step on the path we still walk, today, a path marked by the tension between survival and creation, between power and responsibility, between the self and the community. The lesson, then, is not a simple one. It is as complex and layered as the story itself. But if I were to distill it, it would be this: we are, at our core, makers of tools, of art, of meaning. Yet with every creation comes a choice to wield our power with care or with recklessness, to build bridges or walls, to see clearly or to turn away. Torin's flute was a gift to the spirits. Lena's bomb was a pact with destruction. Aisha's veil was a shield for her heart. Marco's lens was a window to wonder. Each choice shaped not just their lives, but the world that followed. In our own time, we stand at a similar crossroads. We live in an age of unprecedented power, technological, scientific, cultural. We can split atoms, edit genes, connect across oceans with a keystroke. But with that power comes the same weight that Lena felt in the desert, the same question that haunted her sleepless nights. What will we do with this gift? Will we use it to heal or to harm, to unite or to divide, to see more clearly or to blind ourselves to the consequences? The answer lies not in grand gestures, but in the small, daily choices we make, how we treat one another, how we steward the earth, how we wield the tools we've been given. It lies in remembering that, like Torin's family, we are bound by community and care. Like Lena, we must question the cost of our creations. Like the weavers of ancient fashion, we must honor the stories we wear. Like Marco and Aisha, we must seek to see the world and ourselves with greater clarity. This is not a lesson of despair, but of hope. For in every era, even in the darkest moments, there were those who chose to create, to connect, to see. Torin's flute sang through the night. Lena's tears watered the seeds of peace. Aisha's veil became a symbol of resilience. Marco's lens opened a door to discovery. Their stories remind us that we, too, can choose the path of light, that we can be the dreamers, the makers, the seers of our time. As we step back into our own lives, let us carry this thread with us. Let us remember that we are part of a story much larger than ourselves, a story that began in the caves and stretches into the stars. Let us honor that legacy by choosing wisely, by creating with care, by seeing with compassion. For, in the end, it is not the tools we make, but the hearts that wield them that will shape the future. Your turn to reflect what part of this journey resonated with you the most. Did Torin's cave art stir your soul? Or did Lena's moral struggle hit close to home? Maybe it was the boldness of ancient fashion or the quiet power of eyeglasses. Whatever it was, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Share them in the comments below. Your insights might just inspire someone else on their own path. And if this story has sparked something in you, don't forget to subscribe. Your support fuels more adventures through time, more lessons from the past, and more dreams for the future. Let's keep weaving this tapestry together.